Hey everybody, Kenny here. In today's video, I'm going over my Hex Bomber build in the game Path of Exile. And this is probably my most effective damage dealing build that I've come up with. Actually, so the base concept of this, I used in my Scion build because since it's the most effective damage dealing tool that I've come across. Like when I was trying to figure out a way to add damage to that build, I guess was the first thing that came to mind because of how effective it was in this build. So, baseline, this is an Occultist build where we went for the Profane Bloom tendency, which allows us to apply our hexes to hexproof enemies, meaning that no matter what the enemies are, we will be able to apply our hexes to them. We went through to get all of the damage we could get. We grabbed some mana regen and energy shield, some extra elemental resistances, as well as improved chance to avoid stuns while casting, some more mana, energy shield, intelligence. Head up this way to increase our hex area of effect. Is very important for this build. From here, we grab the Curse Mastery that allows us to hinder any enemy that we apply our curses to, which means that their movement speed is reduced. Grab some extra dexterity there. Head down this way and grabbed our Reservation efficiency. And the reason we grabbed this is because we are using 2 Spell Slingers in this build. It was very important to reduce the amount of mana reservation we have. Grab some extra life, energy shield, and chaos resistance. Over this way, grab some more life and elemental resist. Grab some mana regen, and reduced our mana cost. Then most importantly, we grabbed Doomsday from here. The reason we're using Doomsday is when you use any kind of hexes, they apply a special mechanic. When you cast them yourself, they apply a special mechanic called Doom. And each curse applies 10 Doom per second while they're active. However, when you take Doomsday, instead of the standard applying the Doom over time as the enemy is being affected, what happens is that the area you create when you first use your hex, after a moment of the curse being the hex area being placed down, you'll see it expire. So you'll kind of see the hex area kind of like pulse and disappear. And once that happens, any enemy that was in the area automatically has maximum Doom, which allows us to use Doom Blast. Oh, I'm sorry, Hex Blast and Doom Blast. In this case, we are using Despair and Temporal Chains as our hexes. Despair reduces enemy chaos resistance. It makes it they take extra chaos damage, extra damage over time. And it makes it that any time they're hit, they take additional chaos damage as though the attack that hit them had additional chaos damage on it. Then with Temporal Chains, we reduce the enemy action speed, meaning they're not able to act as effectively. And we paired that with increased area effect so that our curse area is much larger than normal, and impending doom so that when the hex ends, Doom Blast triggers. There's a lot of extra damage on top of that, and because we are using Spellslinger to cast Void Sphere and Hex Blast, we do even more damage based on our enemies having been cursed. The reason we're using Void Sphere as one of our spells here is that one of the effects of the Void Sphere is that when it's up, not only is it dealing damage over time to any enemy that's near it, but it also hinders them, meaning that their movement speed is further reduced on top of what we're getting from having the curse mastery, that when we curse them, they have their movement speed reduced. So whenever that's up, like, their movement speed is reduced tremendously, giving us plenty of time to get out of any dangerous range of an enemy. And our Hex Blast is setting off all of our curses to deal tremendous amounts of damage. Then our other Spellslinger is doing Soul Rend and Essence Drain, which are chaos damage attacks, which are being further enhanced by the enemy having Despair placed on them. And since Essence Drain adds a... Actually, I think both of them do. Yeah, since both of them do damage over time with chaos, do chaos damage over time, they're further enhanced by Despair, since that increases the damage over time effects, and also reduces their chaos resistance. So it's just good synergy to use both of those. With Essence Drain, while the damage over time is happening, it is considered a debuff, and you regenerate life based on 0.5% of debuff damage. Whereas Soul Rend just gives you energy shield leech based on the spell damage. Then, so we have a very effective combo with our spells and hexes. And we head over this way, grab more energy shield. So we grabbed another Curse Mastery to increase our chance to ignite shock poison, but this also increases our curse effect. And hexes we inflict have an additional 10 maximum doom, meaning that our Doom Blast and Hex Blast will deal even more damage. Head down this way, where we further increase our curse cast time, and now we're able, with Whispers of Doom, cast an additional curse. And we grab the Curse Master room here as well. It makes it that if the enemy wasn't cursed when we cast the curses, they are now blinded for 4 seconds. And because we went and grabbed that, I went and with my gear selections, I added, so this was just a 4-link energy shield choose that I used in essence to add evasion rating to, and it happened to roll with really nice resistances and really nice movement speed. And then for the chest, I had a really nice sleek coat that, you know, just rolled with good evasion rating and maximum energy shield and life. So I just crafted on some evasion energy shield to that. For my accessories, I just crafted on some extra elemental resistances, and you know, I just used whatever I could get that would give me as many stats as I could get, because I needed lots of extra dexterity to make sure that I could keep leveling my Essence Drain. Yeah, I could keep leveling my Essence Drain, since that has a dex requirement, as well as Temporal Chains, which also has a dex requirement. Actually, that is, yeah. And for our other ring, I'm using a Praxis. This isn't as necessary when you get to the point that I am with the build right now. But if you happen to get one of these early on, then it's very helpful for the fact that until you get these here, Spellslinger is going to be very prohibitively expensive. So honestly, until you have that, I don't even really recommend using 2 Spellslingers. Maybe do like 1 Spellslinger that has your Hex Blast and either Void Sphere or one of these 2 in it, depending on what you prefer. But yeah, but you really want to reduce how much mana reservation you have going on. And the reason for the extra mana that I grabbed over here is that, and also the reason that I kind of was looking for stuff that had maximum mana on it, is that without Praxis, you're going to have very little mana. And there's actually a very good possibility that with both of these up, you won't have enough mana to cast the spells that are in this build. So the more mana you have, the more likely you are to be able to do anything. So definitely look for equipment that happens to already have some flat mana on it. Increase chances that you can... so I can do this just fine without the Praxis on. But like I said, you want to make sure that if you happen to have this, that you keep it on until you're able to get on without it. Because if I go out onto the coast, you can see I'm using up a very large amount of my mana bar. But because I have decently high mana, I'm still able to cast everything that's in this build. Even though that's 31 mana, that's 27 mana. And our Power Siphon is 11 mana. We're still doing good. Oh, and our Frostblink is 10 mana. Oh, and our Power Siphon I have being supported by Barrage and Greater Multiple Projectiles, which is what I had mentioned for what I used in my sign build. So the way I use this is I just run out, look for a group, drop down, and just instantly dead. Just about everything will die in one hit. Very few enemies can survive the full combo. Hey, nice. So let's look for... Yeah, so when you saw everything kind of just immediately die when it touched me, like that is the effect of my gloves. The trigger Word of Winter when hit. Like to me, I think that's the most powerful of all of the glove effects you can get. Because when that thing goes, like it just... I have no idea what the... Like what the... I don't know. I'm not even sure how to quantify like the way that works, but like when actually let me get this thing to hit me. Wow, there you go. So you see it going, like, because it just goes through and for some reason, like when you have actually, you know what? Actually, you know what? I just realized what it is. I couldn't think of like why it was so that thing was so crazy effective, and it's because of the despair. It's actually triggering the despair effect. Yeah, so that's definitely like the best for the like if you're going to use despair, that is definitely the best of the labyrinth buffs you can get for your gloves. Like, I'm gonna look for something kind of meaty, just to show what I'm talking about. I'm trying to get them not to attack me from more than one side so I can show the thing happen. Yeah, so you saw that? Hit me. So I don't know if... Because those weren't... Like, that wasn't a rare pack. So I'm not sure if that rare mob was just... like, applying a buff to them that wasn't showing up visually. Because everything else, like, when you have that on, they just die. Eh, maybe not. Yeah, I'm not sure why it is that sometimes they just explode when... when the glove effect triggers, but it is a very effective thing. I'm not saying you have to get that. I'm just, you know, I was pointing out that, like, I have noticed that for some reason that effect, sometimes everything, like, it'll just kill everything, like, immediately. And I thought it was because of despair, but maybe something else that's causing that. Causing it to occasionally just blow everything up. But regardless, this is a very cool build that I highly recommend trying out. Even without any real defenses in here, like, you're able to do just fine because your whole like, the whole way you're using this is I see you, I drop these down and wait for you to run towards me to get cursed, and then I just blow you up. You know, very cool. Like, so it's something that I really like in my builds is having stages into my attacks. So, you know, in this case, you know, I put down the curses, it blooms, you know, then I do my power siphon to trigger the explosion. But yeah, but I like things that, like, you know, like attacks that happen in stages instead of just holding down a single button and doing everything that way. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, like, you know, like a build where you just hold down one button. A lot of my builds are just hold down one button. But if I can get it to where, like, I can press one thing to make it that the next thing I do is way stronger, then to me that, like, I like doing that. To me, it's just a fun interaction in any game that I play. I just like doing it that way. That's why my My champion build is based all around exerting attacks, because I think exertion is like my favorite mechanic in the game. Why I have a lot of Battle Mage's Cry builds, just because I really like that, you know, you can, like, you know, you do the War Cry to make it that you can cast a bunch of spells by attacking. Yeah, like, I like setup. I don't know. Maybe too much Magic the Gathering, I don't know. Anyways, if you enjoyed the build, then I appreciate doing all the YouTube stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll talk to you all next time.